Hey everyone, Mel here. I haven't been here in a while. Oops, let me just adjust that a little bit. I haven't been here in a while thanks to, well, life. So I thought I'm just gonna do a little capture video just to get back in the swing of things because, well, yeah, life. Ooh. Sorry, you can't see this, but this is the goddess, Oya. She is an Orisha of storms and lightning and weather conditions. So that didn't naturally belong to Oya. That was just something I pinned on like a Chinese New Year Lucky Charm thing that I just happened to have gotten from takeout at Mandarin. So this is my goddess statue, Oya. This also is not a lot of space here. This is just a private space. This is my Witching Hour statue. It's called the Witching Hour. It's actually called the Witching Hour. So you can see it. I wish this was an actual candle holder, but it's actually artificial. So it's basically a cat sitting on books. There's so many of these that I could collect, but I don't really want to because it's probably not, well, it's a little bit expensive to keep collecting them. But these are some of my cool memorabilia. Anyway, when I die, whoever inherits this better appreciate it. This is my little owl. I got this at a bookstore actually. He's so cute, right? He's my guardian owl, my book owl. And behind him is another Statch memorabilia. Not Statch. What is Statch? Another cat memorabilia. It's still in the plastic. So this is called oh, I didn't get the name for this one. But basically it's a little canvas of a cat overlooking a witching ball, a mirror ball, witchcraft stuff. I have more cat memorabilia than actual cats. I've never had a cat and I've been terrified of cats, but I have so many cat memorabilia. This being one of them. You can even see my bookend. I'm gonna drag it and hope it doesn't collapse, but bookend, come apart, don't give me grief. I talk to objects, beg them not to give me grief. So this is my bookend cat memorabilia. Let me just show you how it kind of works so you can see it better. It's just a bookend to hold cat books. And of course it's designed like a cat, so I had to get it. Why the obsession with cat memorabilia? Well, as I said, I have more cat memorabilia than actual anything else. But let me show off some of my favorite books. So the thing about me and books is I don't actually buy books unless I've read them first. This is new. Thank heavens for public libraries. So if I am interested in a book, I tend to borrow it from the public library. And then if I really love the book, I'll buy it. I think that's fair. This way I don't waste my money on things I don't need. I've been living here for a bit over a year now, and I've been trying to do a lot of minimalism. That's the word I'm looking for. There's another word, I think it's called lagom, which is Swedish. Basically, it means not doing more than you need to, not going above and beyond. But really the word I'm looking for is minimalism. So I actually donated 2/3 of my book before the pandemic hit. So the ones I've kept are the ones that I'm really attached to. And this is one of the more recent ones. This is Arrival by Ted Chiang, formerly known as Stories of Your Life and Others. But the movie the movie that was based on the title story, Arrival, starring Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner, was so successful and so well reviewed that they decided to change the official title of the short story collection and name it after the movie. But really, Stories of Your Life and Others is also what it's known for. Ooh, look at this. Knowledge synthesization. So this is a work related that I just dumped in there. It's like a little wheel that, anyway. So this is a little Bookmark penny that I also got from the bookstore and I'm in love with. Should take it off this, but it's a book pin. And stories of your life. So this is probably ever so often there's a book that comes around that I'm just so obsessed with that I just cannot get over. And this, in the last few years, has been one of them. I know Ted Chiang has released a new short story collection, but I haven't read that yet. But The Story of Your Life, the theme of this collection is communication language. And all the stories are brilliant. The title story you may have already heard about. It's Arrival, based it's the movie Arrival with Amy Adams is based on it. So that story is about a linguist working overtime to decipher an alien language to understand what these newly arrived alien wants before there's some sort of disaster or war. And this one was the one that just made me fall in love because I've never seen language work that way. I love the concept of what is described in the collection in the story as simultaneous consciousness. So the aliens known as heptapods are radial shaped, so basically round, and they have eyes all around their heads, which impacts how they approach language, which I thought seems easy enough and common sense enough, but sometimes doesn't often come out in science fiction, but one of my weird obsession has been alien anatomy. I know that sounds weird, but what I mean by that is I've been obsessed with when I see aliens in movies. The latest example, I just recently rewatched John Carter, which by the way is a good movie that not peaked, but basically if the movie had been released in the 80s or late 70s, it would have been a classic, but it was dated by the time it was released in 2012, but nonetheless, it's a really good movie, despite the author being Edgar Rice Burroughs. But anyway, that's a little bit off topic. What I wanted to say was, I was watching that movie, and the green aliens, have 4 arms, and I kept wondering, okay, what is the point of having 4 arms? And this is something that kind of, as a writer, I think about alien anatomy. Why would an alien have 4 arms? What would be the purpose of that? Evolutionary biology says we're only going to keep appendages that are useful. So there must be a reason for it, and I could never think of it. But even so, what I liked about this is the way that the radial shape aliens, their eyes are all around their head, and that impacts how they approach language and how they see the world. They can see at all angles at all time, and their language is written the same way. And this means ultimately that they have simultaneous consciousness, whereas humans have linear consciousness. We can only see in one direction at a time, and our language is written in a linear fashion, horizontally speaking. It depends, at least for Western languages. I know there's some languages that are written from left to right, from right to left, and are read from up to down. I know ancient Maya was initially read top to bottom, but in many Western languages, we write from left to right. We read from left to right. So we start here and go there. We don't start here and go here. So that might be mixed if you're watching this, but my left to my right. And the beauty of this is the aliens also have insight. So for them, the past, the present, and the future exist all at once. It's not like a river, an S-shaped river, where the past is hidden behind you and the future is hidden ahead of you. They see it all at once, and this instructs their language, instructs their consciousness. And the main character, I was about to call her Amy, but her name is not Amy in the novel, but what is it? I think I just marked up my stuff. Her name is not Amy in the novel, and now her name is slipping me, and I don't know why. It starts with an S. Louisa. Amy's the actress who plays Louisa. But Louisa essentially is given the gift of seeing the way the aliens see. So the story is written in a kind of omnipotent, or maybe that's the right term. But it's written from the POV of the character who does not adhere to time. So again, being able to see the past, the present, and the future all at once, she's able to, for her, she speaks about the past, the present, and the future as kind of a continuum. So she speaks about her dead daughter, and this was confusing when I first started reading, like, why is she speaking to her daughter as if her daughter is alive? It's because she can see the continuum. So for her, there's no need to adhere to grammar to indicate that her daughter is dead. Her daughter dies at some point in the future, but she speaks about her daughter as if her daughter is just living on a kind of time continuum where the past and the present doesn't exist. And the novel, the short story is written this way. And I really appreciated that. I love stories that make me think about things in different ways, and definitely Arrival / The Story of Your Life is one of those. But all the stories in this book is amazing. Some of my other favorite ones is Hell is the Absent of God, which is pretty funny, about a world in which theophany, or the revelation or manifestation of angelic beings, is frequent. But the presence, or if you see an angel, it can be a good thing or a bad thing. So there are people who've seen angels who were, say, disabled and regained their legs. There are people who've seen angel who've gone blind. So it depends on what the circumstances, and it's about a man who's joined a group of he joined a local group because he's wrestling with the fact that such an experience left his wife dead. And so he's wrestling with his faith, like, how can I have faith in God when this happened? This is a really good story, trying to understand that expression, God works in mysterious ways. What does that mean? And there's Division Zero about I think this is the story I had marked here, but it's called Division Zero. And it's essentially about a woman a mathematician who basically had a mental breakdown once she was struggling. What a mental breakdown, trying to solve a mathematical riddle, and that she just couldn't comprehend. It's called Division Zero. Here, language is in the language of mathematics. So I'll just give you a little bit of hint here. It says dividing a number by zero doesn't produce an infinitely large number as an answer. The reason is that division is defined as the inverse of multiplication. Multiplication, I could never pronounce that word. But anyway, other stories in the collection. Some of my favorite, Liking What You See, a documentary, is interesting because it's about imagine a world where social media filters, beauty filters, has become something you can apply in real life, and imagine the fallout of that. And that is a really good story as well. But one of my other favorite stories is Understand, which reminds me a little bit of the short story Flowers for Algernon. It's about a man who undergoes an experimental treatment after brain damage that has rendered him to be super intelligent. It has rendered him to be super intelligent, but the end result of this is not a sympathetic character the way that the character of Charlie was in Flowers for Algernon, because that's still the saddest story for me ever. It's the story, if people say, tell me about the saddest story you've ever read, Flowers for Algernon is definitely there. But in this one, the character is not sympathetic, but rather an ass. And it has, a bizarre, well, I wouldn't call it bizarre, but in the same way Flowers for Algernon, the text becomes denser, more academic as the character becomes more intelligent. This is more or less the same thing, and it becomes hard to read. I had to read the ending a few times to understand what is going on, and I'm almost nearly certain, spoiler alert, that there was some sort of telepathic meltdown or death, but again, you can read that for yourself. Anyway, this is one of the books from my collection that I just wanted to tell you about. I think I'm gonna go over some of the books in my collection for you, just to give you a sense of stories that I like. for me, I like to say that my writing, this is how I want to write. This is the kind of high intelligence, high concepts that I want to tackle in my story. It's just a matter of execution. But anyway, if you've read Ted Chiang's Arrival, formerly known as the Stories of Your Life collection, let me know what you think. And subscribe, folks. Subscribe. By the way, subscribe. Oh yes, subscribe. And I'll talk to you next time. Just putting out there, it says now a major motion picture. Ooh.